Hello and welcome back, RBG family and friends. Today we are in the kitchen. We are bringing you guys a recipe. This is the second time that I do this recipe and I am bringing you guys along for it. It's a recipe that I found in YouTube. It is not my own. It is by a YouTuber. They go by Moiter and Pastry. I hope I am saying it right and I'm not butchering it. It is fantastic. I love making banana bread, banana cake, whatever it is that you guys want to call it. And I usually make it either on its own or with walnuts. My kids usually are not too much keen. Usually my little one, she is my pickiest eater. My son will eat it with or without walnuts. And I used to follow another YouTuber's recipe for that banana bread. And it is marvelous. It is beautiful. But I came across this recipe and OMG. My husband was actually the one that wanted this. He was like, oh my god, like, what about banana bread and chocolate chips? So he was the one that was like, you know, put this little thing in my head, and I was like, okay, I'll look for a recipe and we'll see how it goes. Came across these people, made it so moist, so delicious. Who knew this was a thing? And my two favorite things in the world, bananas and chocolate. Yes, just, you know, please count me in. So I'm gonna bring you guys these recipe. I'm recreating them. You know, this is something that was posted on their channel 3 years ago and delicious. So according to what I have here, the recipe goes as follows. Once it comes to the dry ingredients, it is 1.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once we put those dry ingredients, we are going to be sifting them into a bowl, and then we're going to mix them well. I will be showing you guys hopefully step by step as I do this, but I'm giving you this information beforehand so you guys can hear it. You know, some people like to hear things and then see things, so I'm trying to please both publics. Then for the wet ingredients, we are going to be doing 4 ripe bananas. Mine are somewhere in between. I would have liked to have them more riper, or I guess more spottier than what I have them, but I'm working with what I have. 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I think in the video they were using the packed brown sugar. I don't know if it was light or if it was dark. I have kind of granulated brown sugar. That's pretty much what I'm going to be using because that's what I have on hand. 2 eggs. I have farm fresh eggs because my girls are still laying. A+ to them. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1/2 cup of oil. I'm going to be using corn oil. I have all types of oil here, but I prefer to use corn oil when I am baking. And 1/2 cup of milk with 1 teaspoon of vinegar, and that is to make buttermilk. Buttermilk here in Bronx, New York, at least where I'm at in my little zone, is very difficult to find, and I am not going to go explore to look for buttermilk. When I found this video and I saw that it was this easy to make, I was like, heck yeah. I was very happy to find this trick. So yes, thank you. 2-in-1, very yummy recipe and the trick. And then 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. I do change this in this recipe. I like mine's more, I guess, chocolatey, if that's a thing. So I think I do, or I think I did add a cup or a little bit more. I just, you know, sprinkled a little additive. We like chocolate in this house, so I did change that. So you do you. once it comes to the chocolate chips. So we're gonna go ahead and turn you guys around and start baking this little guy up, because I can't wait to sink my teeth into this again. That's how good this was. So the most important thing to do first is to get your buttermilk mixture done first. So that's what we're going to do first, because you have to set this aside so it can do, I guess it's chemical reaction. I guess we're scientists first and then bakers later. So in a mason jar right here, in one of my biggest ones that I own, we're gonna go ahead and put our, and oh my god, I hope I don't spill this. I probably will. We're gonna go ahead and put our half a cup of milk. Okay, I didn't do that bad. We're gonna go ahead and put our half a cup of milk. And vinegar is going to be 1 tablespoon. And we're going to mix that, and we're just going to set it aside. So I'm going to go ahead and get a fork, mix this up, and set this aside. And we're going to go ahead and start with the dry ingredients. Okay, so we are going to start with our dry ingredients. We're going to start off with the flour. It is asking for 1.5 cups of flour. And we are going to be putting it in our glass bowl with our sifter that is attached to it. So that's 1 cup, and that's 1/2. Convenient that I have my sink right there, right? We're going to get rid of this flour since we no longer need it. The next dry ingredient is 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So let's get our beautiful teaspoon right here. So we have baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to move down to 1/2 teaspoon, and that's going to be of salt. Always add a little extra, don't know why. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And from there, we're just gonna go ahead and sift that right into our bowl. Just as is. The whole purpose of this is, 1, to mix and incorporate all the ingredients together, but also to make sure that we have no clumps. As you can see, i.e. here, I had a little bit of clumps, so that doesn't get into our mixture. So now we'll put that in the sink, and we'll get a little whisk right here and just incorporate that a little bit more, as you can see right here. And that's our dry ingredients, guys. Our dry ingredients are now ready to go. We're going to set these aside, and we're going to set up our wet ingredients. Okay, guys, so we are ready for our wet ingredients. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to peel our bananas, and we're going to mash our bananas. So I'm going to go ahead and get jiggy with this process, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so I have these little guys perfectly mashed. That was 4 bananas that I put in there. So now we're going to go ahead and add our sugars. We have a brown sugar. It's going to be 1/2 cup of each. So that's our brown sugar. Now we're going to go into our white sugar, also 1/2 cup. And you can choose to incorporate each one individually and then go from there. I think that's what he did on his video. But I'm just, I mean, for me, sugar is sugar. So I'm going to put both of them in there and then mix them. Each ingredient that you put in, just make sure you incorporate it and then move on to the next. But for me, like I said, sugar is sugar. So I just went ahead and just dumped both of them in and I'm mixing. It smells like a milkshake, a banana milkshake. Oh, it's delicious. That's what it smells like in here. Besides the dinner that I'm cooking. It smells like that too. So I already went ahead and started preheating my oven. I set it to 350. So the temperature is starting to slowly rise. All right, so the next thing to add in is your eggs. We have chickens in the RBG home. For those of you that watch me, you already should know. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. These are already washed, as you can see. They are nice and glossy. I don't wash my eggs until I'm ready to use them. We don't want to remove the bloom because we do store them outside. But with chicken eggs, you want to crack them in a different vessel just in case, because you want to make sure that they are good. And if they're good, they smell good, you go ahead and put them into what you're using, because if you just drop them in, you're going to destroy what you're doing, right? You don't want to do that. Those shells, they just sound so good. Wow. Those eggs look lovely. Oh, my girls are doing such a good job. And if anybody wants to know, we do save these. And once I have enough, I like to, I guess, cook them or dry them or whatever the terminology is at 200 in my oven for a couple of hours or until they turn a little bit brown and toasty. And then I either grind them or just shred them down to small particles and feed them back to the chickens. Extra source of calcium for them, and they're also good in your garden, which we do here as well. All right, so once you have them here, if you have a whisk, you can whisk it, but here I'm just using the same thing I used to mash the eggs and just go to town. Look at that yolk. Turn it around.
Motion detected at front.
Alexa, it's telling me somebody's in the front. Probably my daughter. Or Amazon with the 10,000 things that I buy. Probably Amazon. All right, so the next thing is half a cup of oil. Like I said, I'm using corn oil. All right. This little spout is going to take me forever. So we're going to go ahead and remove the spout and just pour it here just like this. So it's half a cup of corn oil. The oil of your choice. And again, with the oil, it takes me a little bit to incorporate because I like it to be blended in. So take your time with the oil. It's okay to caress it a little bit because you want it to be nice and incorporated, because the oil does separate from your mixture. So I like to churn it and mix it in. Elbow grease, people, elbow grease. And just like that, that oil is nice and incorporated. So the next thing we are going to put in is the vanilla. And vanilla, we have 2 teaspoons. So let's find our teaspoon. And here she goes. I'm telling you guys, you have to take my word for it, or you're gonna have to make this yourselves. This is delicious. All right, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And again, you already know, incorporate. All right, and the major last thing that we have here would be, remember what we did in the beginning? Our buttermilk. Now we're going to add this in here and incorporate. All right, and now we have our wet mixture. So now our wet mixture and our dry mixture is complete. All right, so now we are good. We are going to bring over our dry ingredient. So what's left is our chocolate chip. I told you guys that the ingredient calls for half a cup of chocolate chips. I like it, and my family likes it on the chocolatey side. So we do more chocolate chips than what the recipe calls for. Okay, so I did about 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. So what he recommends, or she, because I don't know who owns the channel, what they recommend you to do is to take some of the dry mixture and pour it onto the chocolate chips. The whole point to this is so that the chocolate chips don't sink down when the mixture is mixed in completely. So once you do this, they kind of look like that. Do that and then set it to the side. All right, so now we are ready to mix our dry with our wet. They, in the videos, don't state to do it slowly. What they literally do is pour the whole thing in there, and with a whisk, they just mix the whole thing. So that's exactly what we are going to do. They don't fold it, they don't do none of that. They literally just whisk it. So I'm going to try not to make a huge mess, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm done. All right, and it kind of looks just like that. We're going to bring back the chocolate chips, and we are going to dump them all in there. And we're just going to mix all of them in. Just as so. And they look something like that. Now, as I'm mixing this here, in the video, what they did is they bake this as like little loaf breads. I'm gonna choose to put it in a Bundt pan because that's what I did last time, and it was phenomenal that way. So I am going to prepare my Bundt pan with Pam baking spray, and I'm gonna pour it in there. I will show you what it looks like right before I put it in the oven, so you can get a visual of the before and the after. And this is going to go into the oven, if I haven't stated already, at 350 degrees for about an hour. And at that point I will pull it out. If you haven't watched one of my videos before of the peach cobbler, please go watch it. I got a new stove, and I'm still learning how to play with her. And 350, I had to bake that peach cobbler, and it was supposed to go for 45 minutes and actually went for an hour. So we will see what this does. I'm still learning the stove, so we're still getting used to it. So it is what it is. You know, the stove prior to this one I had for many years. So it is what it is. You get accustomed to things. So let me go ahead and plate this up so we can get it into the oven and into our tummies. All right, guys, that's how it looks. She's in my glass bundt cake. We're going to put it in the oven, and we will hopefully see you in about an hour. If not, per my new stove, maybe a little longer, or until a toothpick comes out clean. So we will see you then, and towards the end of the video or in the thumbnails, you guys will see a picture of the finished product and a piece cut into a slice. Don't know what we will pair it with, but we like it nice and warm, and cold is amazing. Also with some ice cream. So we will see you at the tail end once it's baked. All right, guys, here you have it. The banana chocolate chip cake is what I'm calling it. They are calling it loaf. I chose to do it in the bundt cake, and as you can see it here, I did add more chocolate chips, as I already stated to you guys, and it looks delicious. It is piping hot. I just took it out of the oven. I did bake it at 350. Mine's had to go for an hour and about 10-ish minutes. I did take it out at an hour, took it out of the bundt cake, and right here in the middle it was still a little bit wet, so I had to put it back. It was still moist. I put it back in for an extra 10 to 11 minutes, and as you can see, it is nice and cooked. The outsides are nice and golden, a little more golden than what I would actually like, but it's okay. As you can see, it does bounce back. It would just be a little crunchy. I don't mind it, but in the inside is nice and moist. I can't wait to put my teeth into this. We will cut it up and have it with ice cream. My daughter got home from school and she brought us some vanilla bean ice cream, and it is gonna be delicious. So after dinner, we will have this for dessert. I hope you guys try this recipe out. Go over to Moiter and Pastry and show them some love as well, as this is their recipe. It's just my twist to it. But other than that, guys, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe so that YouTube shares us with the world. It'll also help our algorithm. And as always, we will see you guys on our next video. We love you. Bye.